Good morning, welcome to the Daily News Podcast. Today is August 17, 2026.
President Trump says the U.S. will reduce joint military drills with South Korea, and he's tying that directly to Seoul staying out of the Iran war. That is a big signal in Asia, because those exercises are not just training events, they're part of deterrence against North Korea and a visible marker of U.S. commitment. The concern now is whether allies start hearing a more transactional message from Washington. Support us in one theater, or watch your security posture change in another.
That's the kind of move that gets watched far beyond Seoul and Pyongyang. Allies love clarity, and this adds a little less of it. In the Middle East, Jared Kushner has arrived in Israel for talks with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after rare contacts with Hamas over a Gaza peace plan. Even getting those channels open is notable, because direct or near-direct engagement around Hamas is politically sensitive and diplomatically tricky. The broader point is that high-level players are back in motion, and if this gains traction it could shape ceasefire talks, hostage negotiations, and the wider regional temperature.
It's one of those stories where the meeting itself matters almost as much as the outcome. When senior envoys start flying in, expectations rise fast. Moving to markets, Microsoft shares jumped after Azure topped $100 billion in annual revenue for the first time. That number lands as a major proof point for the AI trade, because it shows cloud demand and AI services are turning into very real top-line growth, not just expensive promises. It also reinforces the broader theme that the biggest tech companies are still spending aggressively, and, at least for now, investors are rewarding them for it.
And that helps explain why Wall Street keeps giving these giants so much room to spend. If the revenue is showing up, the CapEx story gets easier to sell. Staying with tech, reports say Amazon, Alphabet, and Microsoft are on track to spend nearly $600 billion on capital expenditures. That is an enormous figure, and most of it points back to AI infrastructure, data centers, chips, networking, and power. The upside is faster AI deployment and a huge lift for suppliers. The risk is obvious too. These companies are making a historic bet that demand for AI services will stay strong enough to justify the build-out.
$600 billion is the kind of number that stops sounding like tech and starts sounding like industrial policy. This is the AI arms race in concrete, steel, and electricity. On the AI governance side, OpenAI reportedly disbanded its preparedness team. The group focused on evaluating frontier model risks and mitigation plans. If true, that's going to intensify criticism that product speed is outpacing safety structure. At a moment when AI companies are asking for public trust and enterprise adoption, scaling back a team linked to risk planning sends a rough message, even if the company argues those responsibilities were moved elsewhere.
Yeah, perception matters here. If people think safety is being downgraded while capability keeps rising, that's a credibility problem. Another tech story raising eyebrows. ChatGPT's new computer history feature reportedly tracks clicks and keystrokes to build a history of user activity for assistance and automation. The convenience pitch is clear, but so are the privacy questions. Continuous monitoring is a very different category from typing a prompt into a chatbot, and companies will want to know exactly what's collected, where it's stored, and whether it could be used for training or internal surveillance concerns.
That's where AI starts to feel less like a tool and more like an always-on observer. Great for automation maybe, but a tough sell without very clear consent rules. In entertainment, Spider-Man, Brand New Day has passed $2 billion worldwide in just 3 weeks. That makes it one of the fastest films ever to hit that mark and a huge win for Sony and Marvel. More broadly, it's another reminder that theatrical is very much alive when a franchise lands with audiences at the right moment.
Superhero fatigue might be real in theory, but numbers like that say audiences still show up for the right movie. And show up big. Also in brief, Stripe is reportedly buying AI routing firm OpenRouter for more than $7 billion. Ukraine is widening its pressure campaign inside Russia by hitting economic infrastructure. And Stray Kids have scored their 9th #1 album on the Billboard 200.
That's it for this morning's rundown.
Thanks for listening to the Daily News Podcast.
Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.